So here we are, our fourth listening voices conversation. And
Mhm.
yeah, we're getting some little fiery kind of comments in our last one. And Ellen, you had something that you thought we could start off with, and we can go from there about what we're
Yeah.
doing today. Yeah. So
Well, we were talking before we pressed record, and we were exploring themes that we might talk about together.
mm,
And we were, I think, and then I just noticed that maybe what happened from last conversation was that we we may have taken a few, not risks, because I think it's not like we're taking risks. We're being quite free, but there were quite a few comments after the last conversation on YouTube that were a little bit wobbles, some critical, some a little bit of discomfort, and some the three of us noticed it, and we're a bit wobbled, perhaps. At least I wasn't wobbled, but I noticed them, and I it's a disturbing thing when you feel the disturbance, and you anyway. Um, and so here we are again, wanting to push forward and deepen this exploration of embodiment and the feminine and the sort of limits of non-duality in the way that it extracts itself often, not always, but it can extract itself from the emotional life, from life as a human being. Um, I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Just that's what we're doing, the three of us. We want to do that, and it's not necessarily an easy task because we're sort of moving. It's not clear cut. I mean, when you're doing satsang, you know where you stand. Well, maybe not, but sort of. You're first of all, you're responding to a question or a sharing, and you're representing a certain place. But here we're sort of embarking on a boat, and we are representing something because we're so deeply in love with truth and intimacy with life and this so-called non-duality. And we are three women, so we've been on journeys as women. So that's our boat, and we get on it, the three of us, and we've done it. And but we don't quite know where we're going. And I think I wanted to say that keep them coming, the wobbled comments. Not expect us to sort of get back in line because that's not what these conversations are about. And I'm glad they're disturbing. And I don't know about the two of you, but
no, I love that. I love that
mm,
you're glad.
it doesn't mean we don't have a compass of sorts, but we are not reaching for the ready-made compass
No.
of, okay, yes, I'm a satsang teacher, and I better. We sort of don't know what the compass is, except what happens between the three of us as we go along, and
Mm.
that's pretty exciting.
Mm. Yeah, I really like that framing, Ellen.
Mm,
And I think there's something about emerging, like exploring, being here, being present, listening, and watching to see what wants to emerge. There's something very organic about that. But I also understand it can feel unsafe for viewers because
mm,
we don't know where this is going, but we're really darn curious. Is it just going towards deepening our friendship between these three women? Is it, I mean, I don't know. I don't know at all. It could go anywhere, but we haven't even thought about where we want it to go. And that's the point. For me, that's the point.
mm,
Sitting in the emergence. And when I think about like the way Mother Earth works, it's all about Mother Earth like responding to drought or to floods, and it will um, modify itself according to the impact that's been either caused by us or by more natural causes. It's been like there's this model on the earth of where it renavigates and course corrects, but it doesn't have an end game. of achievement or taking over, or it doesn't, you know, of gaining outcomes. And I think that's part of it. Like if I look at like how Mother Earth works and how we are working and how feminine, or actually it's voices that haven't been given the microphone before. You know, I think it's groups that haven't been in there as the outcome, you know, being able to tick off the deliverables. We've been silenced. And as a result, maybe we have cultivated these other ways of being embodied. Maybe we have cultivated a capacity to feel into subtle signals inside ourselves instead of being out there delivering, you know, outcomes, deliverables. Am I making sense? I'm just kind of mapping emergence and that it's more aligned with the earth, you know.
There are always interesting kind of movements that take place when people are suppressed. And, you know, different peoples on our planet have been suppressed, you know, for centuries. And we were talking before we started about how denial of the body and of the earth has been something that there have been people on the planet who have been holding and preserving the wisdom, you know, the wisdom keepers, you know, Black people and Black women and women theologians and indigenous wisdom keepers, you know, throughout time. And all of us have that understanding inside that something is deeply, deeply wrong. And that we're not listening. We're not listening. We're not only not listening to each other, which we're, I think, trying to do here. We are doing here, listening to one another and seeing what emerges. And in order for us to be able to survive here as a species, and for other species to survive, we're going to have to start listening to Mother Earth and to the wisdom keepers and to the wisdom that lives within, that still knows, you know, what still knows from an undivided place and from the heart of what we need to be able to go forward. Otherwise, we're lost. We're really lost. And so I think that the feminine has it's a really important moment on the planet for, I think, for the feminine to emerge, to bring balance, not to topple, not to be, you know, a hierarchy over, not that paradigm, not the polarity paradigm, the polarizing paradigm, but the unifying. What can unify, you know? Because we're all in this together. You were talking about a boat, Jack. We're all in this boat together in the end, right? So,
yeah.
Well, it just feels like we have an opportunity to be able to speak frankly here about the things that are sitting maybe heavy in our heart, or we know intuitively, or just haven't voiced publicly in a certain kind of way of how out of alignment we are, and what feels like, what, I don't know, just speak truth to that. Speak truth, you know?
And I want to say, because you said unify, which of course is desirable, and in the end, probably, I do have this deep sense that there is a sort of intelligence that moves a telos, you know, in the sense of something, a thrust to this process of living that seems to go towards unifying, perhaps. I mean, I I have this feeling, this trust in myself. But I also feel like maybe some of the things that were being said in the comments last time were about how divisive our conversation was, and it wasn't nice and unified. It wasn't nice and tidy. That's what was disturbing, I think, to some of the people. Others liked the vitality of it, but it's the body of the conversation. If we think of a conversation as having a body, and it does. What is the body? It's the earth, Mother Earth. It's everything is a body in a way, and so I think I wanted just to say that yes, of course we want to unify, but actually that's really not up to us. In a way, we don't have to unify. That will happen when it happens. We must be honest, and when we're having a conversation, of course, coming together, but we must also maybe disagree, maybe say something controversial, maybe a joke comes, an irreverent joke bursts out, and all of these things are the elements of the body of a conversation. And I think that's what I loved about and have loved about our conversations, is that little by little, as we relax, it becomes more alive. And that to me is the feminine. If I often sort of struggle with those words because body, feminine, and yet, yeah, they're good words. I don't get me wrong, but they can be difficult to know, well, what do we really mean? But anyway, I think I'll stop there. But just that's what I love, is the freedom, the not knowing, the absence of certainty about what it is we're exploring.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah,
just in terms of unifying, what we could maybe come together in terms of understanding, and is that, do we want to, for species to continue, we can unify in some understanding. We don't, I mean, like all the other stuff you said is absolutely true. And I'm not in fantasy about unifying on every level, but just on some basic understandings. What we're doing to one another and to Mother Earth is not sustainable, No,
it isn't.
Yeah. And it has deep roots, Jac, right? It has deep roots in how we've been, how we have suppressed, the intelligence of the body and what form is about.
Yes.
Not just leading over into the transcendence with everything.
Yeah. We have given values to certain outcomes, performances. And it's a very different way of expressing when you're sitting in the emergence with no compass, as you said, Ellen. No, we don't know where it's going to go. It's about that. That takes courage. What we are doing takes courage. To not be performative, not be, trying to appease, knowing that as we explore these conversations and we honor where it wants to go, the body of the energy form that is the conversation itself, these potent words and intention and our cumulative energies, like that body, that's something, that container is being shared on YouTube, not edited or prescribed or with any agenda. Of course it's going to rattle people. Of course it is. Our trust and bravery has to extend to trusting that love and truth and honesty is strong enough in that container body that it will hold whoever is listening. But we have to let that go and trust that our intention to help, just to help. We don't even have enough to help people or to help the planet. But our hearts are in this. And so where it goes, we have to let that go. And so it is interesting to see how it rattles and where it rattles. And as the listeners will have noticed, we started off by, let's address that. We hear your voices. We started off with that intention. And I think that's another emergence thing. I want to say that was not prescribed so that we stay popular, so that our numbers, it's not for outcomes. It is the movement of honesty. That's what it is. It's the movement of honesty.
Exactly.
So,
in a way, we're just being together, and we're exploring topics that obviously our viewers, or your viewers, Susanne Marie, are interested too, like non-duality, body, I mean, all the themes that but then we're just being together. So we're modeling something in a way. We're not delivering a truth. We're just modeling something. And I think that is the feminine. It doesn't have a pre-packaged conclusion or idea about it. It is, life is, the feminine is. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, we do have to sort of maybe Susanne Marie's like, yeah, but we need to talk about something, or I don't know.
I've given up. I've let it go now.
but I mean that too. I mean, it's really good. Sometimes an idea comes and we follow the thread, and we think we do have minds that we can reflect. So, but yeah, I think we're doing the meta, sort of exploring what is it we're doing here, and what is the body. But I know you had some things you wanted to explore.
Well, yeah.
No,
that was my poor Susanna over there. She needs to chew on here. No,
no, because it is your YouTube channel. No, I'm kidding.
Is it? Wait a minute. I don't know if I want it to be anymore now. Maybe we could approach it from this angle. Not that we're not approaching some angles here, but what is our, I like these questions that are kind of personal, right? These that so I'll just think about this for a second. What is it that is motivating me, to want to, that cares in this way, that wants to speak to something about things that are maybe they have been spoken in different ways, in many different politically, environmentally, socially, all kinds of different platforms that people are speaking about how we're treating one another and our earth. And so, but I just feel like contributing. I feel like being a voice of contribution, and because my channel is a spiritual channel, that just to bring in the voice of into that arena a bit more, because of who may be listening, of like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And how does this land inside of you and oneself, in terms of how division has played out, and how it's, where can this conversation go about division and the pain of it and the suffering it causes? And us as women, that has been the wobbly part in the last conversation. As women, how division has caused a lot of pain and trauma. And the way that we treat the feminine, the way we treat Mother Earth, they're the same. It's the same. And so that's what I want to point to and speak to, is like, even if the voice shakes and the comment section is full of but it's just this thread of like this is untenable. It's untenable. You can't keep raping the planet and dismissing the body and the feminine nature, and it's not going to be sustainable. It's not. So it's kind of like,
I hear you, Susanne Marie. I feel like you're landing in something that really
I have a friend who's been on my channel and who's, in her early 80s. And she said she would love to see, she just has this vision of seeing people, not just women, but people just saying, stop, just rising up and stop this insanity, stop this, greed, stop this hierarchy, stop all of it. And that's part of what feels like this, is that we've got to change, and stop is in the air here. So, yeah.
And I hear you say that you want to make a contribution. I love it when you say that. It's like you just want to do your part.
Yeah, I'm not on a mission. I just want to make a contribution. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The mission thing kind of makes me feel
Yeah.
Well, that's more of the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
is.
and mission is from
Missionaries-
here and contribution is from the heart, you know? It's
I mean,
like
The
they're completely
missionaries are
different.
the guys that went off to indigenous countries and
Yes,
forced.
converters. Yeah,
Right.
just converters. Yeah. Controlling.
Right. Yeah,
Power
save the
over.
world is another type of mission, and I'm gonna
Yes.
have my ideas on how we should save the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, because it's the world out there, stop, and the plundering and the not listening and the exploiting and drill baby drill and all those things. But it, as you say, it's this world. I mean, it's this ecosystem which is connected to the whole ecosystem. And I watch myself do stuff that's so violent in small ways. But even if I have a dream at night and I wake up and I want to know what it means, and I plunder my unconscious as if it was a land that I can exploit, my unconscious, which is in a way my body, it's the place that I don't know, the place that is wild. And I've been so aware of all the little ways all the colonial ways that I treat my own body and my own psyche. So the stop is not just directed to the bad guys out there, and it is because they have a lot of power. But we have, or I feel so deeply that that's what the inner work is to really be attentive to the places where I commit violence, and it's almost mission impossible to stop completely. And maybe that's not the point, and we were saying. But to look and to listen and to become more alert with my senses, not just think, but feel. And so that maybe what's also very necessary is to reconnect with each other and with the tree. And we've said this in the previous talks. It's like it can't be a heads down. It has to be via the body. Connecting to the body has to be via the body. So it's not like we can't do it like we have to somehow feel. We have to feel. Feel.
My brain is pulling together a few threads and I don't know if it's going to amount to anything, but here goes. Some kind of denial that we are not simply another link in the ecological, natural world is deeply rooted in separation. And the amount of times I've heard people having, if they're like sharing their first experience of unity consciousness, the amount of times that it's either been with the assistance of plant medicine or it was with a tree. I became a flower. The flower was in me. It's like the amount of times nature is involved, nature giving this gift of we're one. But as long as we're separate from the earth, our natural thing is to exploit it in our culture. It's not natural to our bodies, but it's adopted by our culture as being what you do.
Yeah.
So it's like if we're going to get this unity thing, we have to lay down our drilling tools, our exploitative measures, and recognize humbly our authentic little link in the chain of the ecological natural world. So like, that's a big shift. That's a big ask. I also think it's linked into like, okay, where maybe there are some listeners here who've had their first experience of unity with the assistance of Mother Earth. Like, go deeper into it and find out, like, was it for your experience to take away because you now get what unity consciousness is about, or at least you've had a good crack into it? Or like, is your first step actually to be in your body and experience unity consciousness by completely acknowledging your place in the ecosystem? And what would it be like to work from there, to live from there? We'd be building on a lived experience of the unified field. And exploitation of the earth wouldn't be a priority anymore, because that has to push you back into separation, where it's personal gain in, you know, gleaned from exploiting the earth, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Language is so powerful, you know, language has been created out of within duality, you know, as an exchange. English was created as a barter language. A lot of what English is about is bartering, and it's subject object. So our division, our inner division is really evident in our languages worldwide. There have been some maybe Sanskrit or something, you know, some earlier languages that were less so, less subject object, more unified, you know. So whenever I think of Earth, um, I'm trying to take out the as an object, you know, creating an object out of it, the Earth, or even
Earthy.
our Earth, you know, it's Earth, it's nature, we are nature. We don't, you know what I mean? It's like, it's this sort of, to really take a look at how we are creating we're entrenching separation through language, and the way that we, you know, are viewing what we see outside of ourselves in terms of a tree, or when we're in nature. You know, this one of the things that I really liked doing when I was collapsing this kind of subject object kind of polarization within myself is to be in deep nature where no one was around, no one, which, you know, as a woman, that can bring up some stuff too. Like I would push it, like not in a dangerous way, but just like sit somewhere way off the trail in a place that's, you know, and just feel like where the first layers of what was coming off was fear, some fear sometimes, like, wow, I'm all alone here. Maybe there's no cell reception, you know, I'm a woman. There's a lot of defensiveness. And what does it have to do? It has to do with, of course, human beings. Nothing about a bear. Zero. I was squatting, peeing, and I once in some brambles, and a mountain lion passes by, and I see its hindquarters and tail, and I was so still, luckily. And I'm in this very, you know, undefended posture. And, you know, it's just like, whoa, what a moment. What a moment. But I would much rather be in the woods with those kind of forces than, you know, crazy humans, or a crazy human.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would put myself in nature and just sit and let these things just kind of like shake off, you know, okay, so the layer of fear, what else is there, you know? And then just come into this like, oh, it's me and this wonderful rock. It's me and this tree, or me and the energies, and just view all the projections, you know. It's talking to me. It has something to say, you know, we're in a dialogue. Like just this, like, you know, it was kind of crazy how long it took, some years over time, of finally being able to be, and there's no dialogue. There's no me and that. There's no story. There's no me trying to get something from it, you know? Like, I'm the center of the universe here, and it surely has something to tell me, you know, some kind of wisdom to part, because I'm so disconnected, whatever, you know. And I'm not saying any of that's wrong. I think that it's a passageway, it's a journey. Because certainly I have had trees tell me some wise stuff, and I've had boulders talk to me, and I've had like some really important things be transmitted, for sure. And I'm not saying that
Yeah,
doesn't.
and there is a you, I mean, there is a you and a me and a Jack. And in other words, we don't have to do this. I mean, sometimes I think maybe when you're sitting out in the wilderness, deep wilderness, there's moments of complete oneness that collapse. But even when Susanne Marie is there, at some point, maybe she's relaxed enough that it's just a more authentic, a more essential Susanne Marie as God intended Susanne Marie. You know, in other words, the flower that just you've you. It is possible to what would be the word, to realign, or to take again, but it's not a taking. It's a finding myself again amongst creation, as one, as part of creation. I can still be Ellen. And then
There's nothing against any of that. I'm telling you,
no,
my
no, no. I wasn't saying that you were saying that, but I was.
I went through
I'm
a
just
real
taking.
journey
Yes,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
discovering where I was still in there was still some kind of veil being
Oh yeah.
placed over this environment, as if it had, there was, it was, there was still separation that was being played out. And
Mm.
eventually it came finally, and that's a whole nother, story. But it finally came that it was like, there's not, all that disappeared. It all just, I'm just sitting here, and here's this and here's that. And it all came into right relationship, kind of like,
That's nice.
where it was the me in that just sort of collapsed, and there's just this. It's just what it is. It is what it is, without all my even yummy stories about how mystical and magical and special nature is and everything. All those things,
Yeah.
still, for me at least, were creating some division. So it would be, you know, I don't know, it was maybe just maybe how a tree is with a tree. Maybe.
I wonder if when all of the, the veils of separation and those subtle voices all dropped, did you feel that there was a deeper relating that was organically happening because of nature being what it is? Like, I mean, there is a relating within the unit. The unit knows itself.
Yeah.
So like
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It was more like there was just pondering, and it was kind of left. It was kind of like, well, what now? Okay, oh, you know, I could squish this ant that's right here, and I'll move my foot. Or, it was more like sort of immediate, like
Yes.
the relating was more from as it versus in a relationship.
yeah.
So then it's more like, okay, well, and also, since we're creative beings, it could be creative, right? Like, oh, maybe I'll make something with sticks.
Mm. Mm.
Yes. Yes. And for me, there is a subtle language of relating that nature does with itself, um, which 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 isn't through concepts, but like through perceiving and adapting. And there is a way that the unit of Mother Earth connects to us if we can shut off all the other crap that's grown out of the idea that we're separate in the first place. Like when the mycelium are the first things to recreate if there's been a forest fire or it's the soil starts to make itself good again with this little fungus spread. It's not little at all, it's an enormous web. And eventually, because the soil is in better shape, a tree can grow again. A new tree can grow, or a tree can repair itself and become healthy. But the mycelium doesn't know. There's a tree there. Let's get our act together in order to support the tree. It's not outcome driven. It's taking care of itself.
I see where you're going, I think. What is our what would it be like for us to be in right relationship without all these projections and separations
There
and
it is.
divisions? What would be our dance with here?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no answer because you discover it would be co-created at every moment.
Yes.
You wouldn't.
Yes, it's present. It's not outcome driven. It comes from care. Somehow that's organically in there, the love and the care and you know, perceiving and adapting and applying that intelligence to the next step and perceiving and adapting and you know, and it's all like what's running through all of that is relating. The unit, the parts of the unit, we call them parts. Yes, there's a difference between fungus underground and a tree. Yes, of course, there are different parts. And the relationship is not driven by separation. It is relating in the present with no agenda. It's this emergence again, allowing.
The thing
without.
is,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
interrupt, Jack. I'm sorry.
No, I just had one other things to say. It's like this model, when we know that in our body and we've had that experience, and it can only be through dropping. It's not through, oh, I'm going to connect with nature. I'm like, no, no, no. It's about dropping the other crap. It's there. We just have learned how to ignore it. I think that is what will give us a template for relating to people. It's from there we'll understand a deeper meaning of true equality, you know, for all people. I think it's from there. The intelligence is in the earth. We've knocked it out of ourselves, but if we can reconnect to our part in nature, the wisdom is there, and I think it's innate. If we're courageous enough to really listen, we can learn from that intelligence again.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think I was just going to expand on that. In my experience, and I think with the Kashmir yoga, but also just in my experience, this so-called separation, which seems to be a very human thing. I mean, so in a way, it's God. It's not a mistake. It doesn't seem to be a mistake to me because it's pervasive. So there's something about it that I try to really include, you know, when I'm exploring the body with the yoga and all that. But what I wanted to say is that the only thing I can do, because it's not a doing and there's nobody here to really do anything to rejoin the oneness and become like part of the totality. I can't do that. But what I can do is to feel what is in the way of that. And on a body level, it's like Susanne Marie sitting in the middle of nature. And then you said the fear is the first layer. But for me, when I close my eyes and listen to my body in the so-called Kashmir yoga, but it really is just, there is many layers of many habits of maintaining myself in and as the body, you know, holding my weight. There's so much going on that is serving the altar of separation, but there's a very beautiful process of welcoming that, just really allowing that to surface and to feel it, because it's a tactile habit. If you're not thinking about separation and you're just sensing it, and it's just this animal thing that we have learned to do to align the body. We've aligned the body with this belief that I'm a separate self, and it's heartbreaking in a way when you. But so yeah, I think I'm just maybe saying that there's something we can do, which is to on a tactile level welcome the body just as it is, with all its layers of fear and holding and this sort of omnipotent belief that I can be this envelope for consciousness. And then when you realize, oh my God, you know, like on a tactile level, of course not. I mean, there is no body that can be the envelope for you know, and you get these insights on a feeling level, and then little by little the weight can release into gravity. For example, gravity, the experience of gravity when you're sitting just on the earth. I mean, it's incredible. It's this law. I mean, we call it a physical law, a law of physics, gravity. I'm like, a law of physics. Yeah, okay. No, a law of the mother, because the body suddenly is just the weight of anyway, this, I don't know, because it's hard to talk about. It's so experiential and so not, as you were saying, the language is immediately sort of shaping it in a sort of heady thing. But I mean, I just think it's profound to work via the body, and with nature and with very simple sensations in the moment, the sensation of the skin, the face, all the feeling of living in behind a face, all those kinds of habits that we never question unless we pop a little bit of a mushroom or or we're guided into some experiential. But actually, it's simple. We can do it.
Mm.
Do it just out of our own curiosity and yeah.
Yeah, that's very much what worked for me and what I did for a good long time is just sensing where I felt the separation inside, and projected that over something that is so itself, which is nature, is a wonderful teacher. It's so itself. And I mean, when you see that in a human being being quite itself, that is also super important, super important to be able to see that possibility and then to have that bloom within oneself. Because and when I said earlier, a tree being with a tree, well, actually, we're a human being with a tree, and where you have our own sensings, our own what is here, and what we're discuss. The exploration for me is how free can this human be to be human, and without holding back its humanness, being as making things as conscious as possible over time, and that this is going to have its own kind of unique dance as itself within nature, as nature, like this bush that's outside here, and there are trees outside here, and frogs, and all kinds of things, and they have their nature. And we have our nature, and that's something I think that, coming to something, Jac, you were saying about relating, that I think that it's coming into right relationship and in harmony with our own nature as a human. Because we're not, and Ellen, you speak to this so well. It's not about getting rid of the human. But to me, it's about, we're so complex.
Yeah.
There's no one thing it's about. We're so complex. But so as these complex creatures and animals and spirits too, how we interface with one another and how we interface as nature. And then that dance that Jac, you were pointing to, of like, well, what would that look like, to be in harmony within ourselves, as even being in harmony with what's out of harmony, being in harmony with each other as much as possible, being harmony here and not wanting to destroy our own ecosystem, our own body, our larger body. And that's why I was pointing to, the indigenous wisdom keepers who we all, we're all from the earth foundationally, and just tapping into those memories cells within and honoring what has been maybe still preserved on the planet within different cultures.
It makes me sad when you say, when you remind us of this, the wisdom keepers and the indigenous traditions and that deep wisdom. And I can feel that even though I do my yoga and the Kashmir there's something about the Kashmir yoga, for example, it doesn't really connect me with my womb or my sexual. When I teach it now, I really, really draw attention to the root of the pelvis and the sexual area, those places that sort of they've gotten sanitized at least in the Kashmir yoga that I was given through men. And I don't want, to do a gender thing, but I feel like such a loss of something that I don't even know what it is, but I sort of know that in shamanic traditions or indigenous traditions, it's not just about the sexual area, but there's something really, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think there's something about the sexual area, the root of the body and the womb and I don't know, and the creatures and how we're, and how we have teeth and claws and they have teeth, and the directions and all those things that I feel we're so cut off from, and we don't have rituals anyway, and we don't do sweat lodges, and we don't gather in a clearing. I don't, and I'm not drawn to the people who tend to, because I feel that no, but it's just not going to cut it. I have to find my way. I'm not of a traditional indigenous, so. But as you were just saying, you said we are all of it, or how did you put it, Susanna? Actually, we are all indigenous to the earth. So
well, this is from here. We are born.
yes,
we're made of this.
Yeah. So I guess the wisdom is here. I feel sad, but then but it's here. If you have to go on a journey a bit, the rubble of our culture. But yeah.
Something about umbilical cord was speaking to me as you were saying, like maybe this umbilical cord with Mother Earth. If we felt our connection, and that's the belly there.
That's nice.
That we're nourished by her and we nourish her in return, and when we're in right relationship and our bodies return, and maybe that's something we're missing. Oh, I feel it right now.
Yeah, I like that image of an umbilical cord.
Sometimes,
sorry.
Sometimes I lie on the earth with my naked belly.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it as the umbilical cord, but it just like it gives me some kind of a connection, but obviously it's the umbilical cord area. But it's like there's something about, I don't know, there's some relating that goes on there, and I just know when it's done, and I have no interest in finding out what it is, but there is something beautiful that happens for both of us, because I'm drawn there and my head's not involved, and I'm not going to invade it and analyze it, but it's exactly that. I just kind of got a eureka when you said umbilical cord. I'm like, oh my God, that's what it is. That's what it is, restoring that umbilical cord, So try it, folks. Lie on natural earth, not somebody's garden, like something untouched, unspoiled for a very long time. Pull up your sweater and put your belly down. Just be there with no expectation. It's quite beautiful.
Mm. Mm.
I think she's calling, honestly, this estrangement that we have, collectively. And not to make it into a she per se or being per se, even though that is my feeling. That doesn't work for whomever's listening. you know, but we are, if you think about it, I don't know how we can't, I don't know how it is that we've gotten so far. And it was me too, you know, just forgetting that, oh my God, I'm born here out of this and return to it. And yeah, there's spirit. I do feel there's spirit. We're made of the stars too.
Of course.
But this honor, the fact that we haven't been honoring what this is made of and what we,
Yes.
and our home here.
Well, you were saying we're complex. I sometimes think of God, you know, I don't know about God, but I think God, you didn't do this job very well. Like you made us so stupid. Why? Why did you make us so stupid?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you made us way too intelligent for our own good. We should have been like smaller brains. First of all, it'd be easier on woman's womb. I heard this weekend I was on a workshop for my training, and the guy was saying that women's pelvises had to grow because the human brain was growing and the baby's head was bigger and bigger. Luckily, I think it's pretty stable now, but, and it's like, well, stop it. You know, our brains are too big for our own good. I mean, I really feel that there's something, and I don't know, I don't think we can blame any.
Yeah. 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 What can
Yeah.
we do to restore? And
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier, Susanne Marie, about like we are our own species, you know, we are part of the unit, but we are different too. And I'm wondering if it's our nervous system, like, because I'm kind of, I feel like during this call, I'm drawn to honoring the intelligence that's in the earth. And that's kind of alive in me as we speak. In whatever way I can. I'd say I'm like getting 0.01% of it, but that's my growth edge. Our nervous system, I don't know if a river or a mountain has a nervous system. And I wonder if, you know, if our dominant culture is driven by a dysregulated nervous system. And that's why there needs to be competitiveness and pressure and optimize and, you know, measurables in the annual report. That's shocking to the human nervous system. And we've created a culture that requires you to be a little bit dysregulated, really. I don't know how you could plug into that if you're a regulated nervous system. You just couldn't be asked, you know? So, like, something about us not being able to manage our nervous system, I think, is in there.
Yeah.
You know?
And part of the what makes us dysregulated is that we've forgotten that we're one with as nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always said to my friends and so on that my dog Nala, if I gave her a shot of separation, like not being one with, she would just probably go crazy. She would
Yeah.
probably just go crazy, and that's us. We've gone crazy, but it's been slow, you know, slower, and we've been trained out of our bubble of the unified field when we're born, after we're born.
Yes.
But yeah. So I think that dysregulation has all to do vibrationally with being out of sync with our intrinsic wholeness.
Yeah. I'm wondering if any listeners now are feeling that this conversation is dysregulating them. You know?
Good point. But you know what? The thing is, one of the things I brought into my sharing is that you can feel into the felt sense of separation. And that's what I did. I felt it, you know, I was like, oh, for example, when I set out in nature or just in general, then I could do it any time, actually. Like what is singing itself out of harmony inside. I called it out of sync. And it was like, you know, I could feel it energetically and I could almost hear it. It was almost like, you know, just like this kind of what some people may call anxiety.
Yes.
And for me, it was like, that is separation's song.
Yes.
So as much as it could be causing distress in a way, in another way, it's like the arrow can say, go there. You know, sometimes we need nervous system support. I did. Sometimes we need trauma support, therapy support. Sometimes we need, I needed a lot of stuff. I needed a lot of support and also maintenance. But in the end, being able to feel into this dysregulation itself is the key, because it's actually intelligence saying this is truth speaking. You can't lie to yourself foundationally that you don't feel. If something feels off inside, it feels off. Instead of making yourself wrong, something's wrong with you. What if it's this separation itself? This is the song it sings in this animal body that we are in the nervous system.
And if we perceive many things as threatening, loss of status, loss of anything, dominant culture threats, like we're not going to be able to perceive the fullness of what we're talking about. We're not going to, because our attention goes into protection and survival. There's our animal part. And if we've invested in that, we're not perceiving the fullness of what is. It's very hard to be managing some perceived threat and be in the unified field. And
yeah, but that's why we stop, like we can't, we have to stop one way or the other at some point and go lie belly flat on the ground or sit quietly, and so that the aperture, our attention that's riveted to, the me that's riveted to the whatever, the adrenaline rush, the fear, then the aperture can sort of slowly
yes,
relax. Just sort of basic. It's so basic, I think, that our minds are so used to some gymnastics and so addicted to, that the idea of stopping, first of all, it's so excruciating because you stop and then you have to endure these layers upon layers of what's going on all the time under the radar, but because we're so busy thinking we don't, so then we feel, and it's just pretty intense when, at least for myself, when I start, if I sit, there's quite a lot going on. And and it's just this sort of welcoming, just the basic and basic.
Beautiful, yeah. Stop the running away from
the script, that we run on, and that humming, that song of separation, I like that. It's like a little static, this sort of, and we can't really stop that one because that one feels like it's almost the noise of our nervous system. But I guess if you hear it, then you're also hearing the silence that surrounds it, or so I don't know, or what you were saying, Jack, the unified, if you're, yeah.
It's not just, yeah, like I said, oftentimes I think we need support, like a cranial session or something can really help us be able to stop and not and hear it and open to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's love that helps one way or the other.
And the love is always what is probably doing it, because what would be willing to do it? So just to open to it, allow oneself to feel, to be disturbed, to be uncomfortable, all those things, even let that fall away, the layers of story around it. Just feel the sensation of it. And that's what it's waiting for. That's my experience. It's just waiting to be met and felt and heard and open to. And then when that happens, it gets to sing its song out. It really does. It'll eventually, it's going to start humming its way out. And that
exactly humming
gets to be, it's because it's not, it is mendable, this rift of feeling separate.
Sure.
It is mendable.
For sure.
And first, the self-realization, of course, is like awareness, aware of itself, its mind awakening. But we're talking about body. We're talking about nervous system.
Yeah. I was with a group.
There you go, Jack.
Yeah. Thanks, Ellen. I was with a group of spiritual leaders recently. It wasn't through ASI work, it was just another personal initiative. And I was talking about being kind and creating a safe space for the people that we're I don't know, supporting. And the kickback afterwards through an email was, that's BS. I have no interest. I'm interested in truth only. It's got nothing to do with calming somebody's nervous system. This disconnect is it just breaks my heart. It's so deep.
Yeah.
Not like, really? You think you're going to just abide in truth and not pay attention to your nervous system? Really? Like,
and yeah, it's such a mistake, because I think each one of us, each creature in this garland of creation, we have, well, I don't know how to put it, because language, as you say, is so divisive, but because I recently also heard a teacher who was being asked about trauma, sort of dismissing trauma and saying, you just go back to your to the deepest place, to the and then it takes care of everything. And of course there's truth to that, but what was being said is that trauma actually doesn't exist. There is no trauma. There is no, and trauma does exist. Rather, who care? Why bother? Why say such a thing? Like, obviously, we have suffering. Their nervous systems are deregulated. There are things that happen to us, even if, yes, essentially, blah blah blah. But I think what I want to try and say is that if we just go all the way back to our true nature, fine, great. But what you were saying, Susanne Marie, it was something about how the rift is mendable. It is mendable if we can let that place of trauma, or that place, that memory in the body, that place that just wants to cry and is whatever it is, that place, when it can be welcomed with this quality of kindness, which isn't something we manufacture and superimpose, but we discover through this exploration, that there is this inherent and unconditional kindness that welcomes all things. We discover it. So it's true that we can't just say, feel the kind. It's something we have to discover. But in that moment where that place that is taken seriously and not just spiritualized away is listened to, each one of us in our private, intimate, universal connection with the totality, there will be a way for that rift to mend. Like in my case, often my body begins to move, and it's not me moving, and there's or if it's an emotional knot, it just really, I feel like it's like this current that it's very delicate thing, and and you have to do it over and over again, and then you also do your therapy work. It's just it's just this, I don't know how to say it. It's like an orchestral endeavor. You're not just going back to your direct true nature.
mm,
It's not my experience, I should say, because I don't know exactly, but it's not my experience.
yeah.
Well, when people say that trauma, if someone says that, and luckily I don't know too many of those people who say that, that are really wanting to deny the human being part so dramatically. But I know that it's a real thing out there. But all one has to say is look at animals. They don't have a separate self sense, and they have trauma. You
Yeah.
know, they memory lives inside their body. You know, they carry those wounds.
Mm.
And there's a spiritual bypass phrase that will negate anything at all to support the inclusivity of the body. So it's all wrapped up in that, isn't it?
And it goes back to that denying the I mean basically, you know what? I'm just going to say it. It's boring. That's just so boring. It's so old. Stop,
Older.
just stop.
Yeah, just
Over
stop.
yourselves. Land here, be here, be
Mm.
alive. This is a precious gift being here. You want to return back to spirit so quickly, it'll happen soon enough.
Yes.
But also, yeah, and because it's such a denial of creation and of life, I find it actually quite a violence, not
Yes.
that habit,
Yes. Yes.
even though it would not see that. It's a violence.
It is.
Yeah. It's life denying.
Yeah. And it's very autocratic. It's saying, oh, you can do this. You just take yourself back to your true nature. Well, who gets to do that, and how exactly? I'm not sure you get to do that. I yes, you can reflect and you can self-inquiry. I think is a beautiful thing, but to then make a gimmicky thing out of it, that it's like this pathway that you can take. Like it feels very colonial to me. It feels like, okay,
It
we've
is.
mastered this
It is.
jungle. Now we
Yeah.
don't have to deal with the jungle. We've
Yes.
cut a nice, clean, direct.
Yes. Yes.
It's one pointedly having mastered the doer.
Mm.
Just stay, just keep. Oh, good doer. One
Yes.
pointed.
It
Yeah.
is a colonial model. I'm glad you made that link, Ellen. Yeah, yeah. It's a colonial model, our contemporary non-dual scene. How it's taught in most circles. It's a colonizing model.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. We're steeped in it. We're swimming in the dominant culture. We're swimming in it.
Mm.
And that's why, Jack, you had brought up the last time or the time before, I don't know, who knows now, in our conversations here that women who teachers, because there are women teachers who are kind of they're doing the transcendence too.
Yeah.
But women teachers and I don't know about male teachers who are doing the embodiment focused teachings. I don't know enough yet about to say, but that it's not popular. It's not what it's wanted. It's not. And it to me is just it's okay, but it's indicative. It's indicative of how out of balance we are and in trouble we are. To deny the body, to not deny form, to deny
Is
mother.
it not popular? I would have thought it's getting more popular. The
What?
embodiment,
It's
exploring the
it's
body.
it's creeping, but the truth is that no, it's creeping. It's like a vine. It's not
Yeah,
mycelium.
yeah,
It's definitely
yeah.
not mycelium. Mycelium would still be check out, however
Mm.
you can check out.
Mm.
But it's creeping. I mean, a lot of it has to do with what lane we're in, what we see. We see what
Mm.
lane we're in,
Mm.
and we happen to be in the lane of this is what's wanted and friends and.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's really fully the case.
Mm. And also, there's a lot of embodiment stuff that's actually more of the same, I'm afraid.
In what
There's there's a lot of embodiment that's end gaining, and
Yes.
it's nothing wrong with it, but
that is
it's not
what?
end gaining, and it's I'd like
Yes.
a more spiritual body or get rid of my trauma. It's very
That's right.
You
it's
mean
very.
like just being? No, I don't understand.
I'm just saying that because I was saying, well, I think there is more, a growing interest in embodiment, but then I was saying that some of it is just more of the same in the sense of materialistic outlook, wanting
Oh,
to make the body more spiritual.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Yes.
And not
Yes.
have the balance and the understanding of
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what we've just been exploring, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a huge shift. Like we're inviting a huge shift. But our brains are wired for, well, there's gain here. This is the transaction that's involved. I'll buy in because there's a transaction. you know, and there's an outcome. So, of course, the dominant culture is going to co-opt anything, any movement that starts, it'll co-opt instead of actually, oh, what is this? Help me to understand this. Because with a dysregulated nervous system, it's going to grab it and use it rather than be still and listen and learn.
Yeah. It's still dominion.
It's still dominion. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, that's why maybe the ultimate message is to trust yourselves, trust ourselves, not always to go look for the answers out there, but listen inside. Find a group that's not too go to see Susanne Marie or Jac, or you could come to my, because we're not so big alpha. I don't think we're big alpha, so, and I'm not saying go see here I am. That's
No, we're not saying that, but what are we saying?
But I'm just saying, really, I'm saying trust,
Yeah.
to learn, to develop a taste for listening inside and going on some kind of exploration. Yes, reading text and listening to people, but trusting ourselves, finding our own connection with this divine.
Yeah. Your
body,
connection to both source and to Mother Earth. Like these are teachers. Like there's
listening to our dreams, and and each one of us, we have our way. We know our
Yeah. And check in on our nervous systems and get support so that you have a toolkit so that you can self-regulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
And the more clear water and stream the nervous system is, the less impacted and overwhelming it is. Overwhelmed, like a fizzy bottle, the more that one can actually sense our connection with source and with
That's right.
one another and with Mother Earth, the more that you feel less separate. So nervous system is like so much of this. So
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Wow. So we went a bunch of places.
We did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fun as always.
Thank you as usual. Yeah. Thank you so much.